There we go.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. That's the AM salute, the morning salute, and then when we finish, that's the eve.
All right, I love it. It was a great day.
Yesterday.
Great day yesterday. Yes, it was a great day Saturday. It's just been a great day every day.
It's amazing, and I'm going to turn the music off now. That's enough for me to know. For those that don't know, I was just testing something there. I
Yes.
was trying to put Andrea to sleep with binaural beats. So,
And
um,
so it's winter here in North Carolina. So in case you want to know why I'm wearing a toboggan, a beanie, a hat, and
yeah,
a
that
sweatshirt, it's because it's cold.
that cold front is moving through today, and tomorrow, I guess it gets to us sometime tonight.
Mm,
And our weather will be in the low 30s. So,
okay. Yeah, right now it's 36 or something over here.
but if you look at Indiana, I think it was today, they're blanketed with snow right now, like 8 or 10 inches or something like that. So,
I
uh,
want
if you
snow
like
so
snow,
bad.
that's great. But if
Frank is like, please don't, Andrea. I'm like, listen, we need some snow. And everybody's like, we're not equipped in North Carolina. I said, but we need snow because snow is beautiful. I love snow.
but have you ever lived anywhere for extended snow?
Oh yeah, I lived in New York.
For how long though? Oh, see, there went the accent again.
There went- I was there from when I came to the US. I was 7. And I was there until I was 13.
Okay, so not as an adult having to drive to work and drive back from work and shovel the
No, I
driveway and
no. I did go back when I left home, and I was there from the age of 14 to 19.
okay.
So yeah, I didn't know how to drive, and I didn't need to have a car because you have trains and buses, so you had public transportation. And I love the snow. And so when I came to North Carolina, actually in 96, um, I just came from like 7 feet of snow, and everybody's over here whining about a couple of inches of ice. I was like, oh my God, you guys are crazy. And I was wearing a sweater while everybody's wearing these heavy parkas, and they're dressed to the kilt with like they're in the Arctic region of some part of the world that was. I'm like, you guys are ridiculous. I'm wearing a sweater. What is wrong with y'all? It's too hot.
Your body gets used to things. I can remember being over in the Western Pacific in the heat and the humidity for 9, 10 months, and then
Mhm.
coming back to San Francisco, and I had to wear a coat in August in the evening time because it was just too cold from the breeze and stuff, and everybody was looking at me like, well, looking at all the sailors, you guys are
Right.
crazy,
That's it.
But we just came back from being in the Western Pacific where all it was hot and humid, so.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, the way we look at things like snow, I think is indicative of our mind in general, because as an
Mhm.
adult, your mindset becomes, for the most part, not everybody, that this
Mhm.
sucks. I don't want to drive in this. I don't want to have to deal with this. But as a kid, it's wonderful. You might even get a day off school and
Mhm. Unless
whatever.
you live in New York, that's part of the deal. You walk in the snow, you do everything in the snow. But over here in North Carolina, they shut everything down for extended periods of time because they don't have the abilities to clean up roads with salt and all the other stuff. But I love snow. To this day, me and snow is my friend. And then having a dog of any kind, little or big, just watching their paw prints or bird prints or any prints in the snow. Like, you don't understand. Snow is my friend. I want some snow. So the couple of times that we've had snow here in North Carolina that they've considered it a blizzard, and it's not, it's just several inches. I've been like, yes. Yes, no, I'm always a kid. When snow, I don't care. That'll definitely pull me out of any bad mood. Um, yeah, I love snow.
But
Nobody
that was
else
the
around
that
me
was the
does.
old you. You don't have bad moods anymore. You have
I
bad
don't.
moments, but not bad
True.
moods. So.
Absolutely.
Um, And so why are we talking about the weather? Because we are. Uh, we usually talk about mindset and gratitude and just peace, joy, love, and gratitude. So, but it's funny because I did a total of I think 17 months in Antarctica. So
Mm.
in three different, six, five, six, I think it was. Yeah. And the first time down there, it was wonderful. I loved it, even though we landed in the middle of a storm, which we weren't even, if they had known the weather was going to change, we would have gone back to Christchurch, New Zealand. But after 4 hours from there, you have to keep coming because otherwise you don't have enough fuel. And you're landing in a C-130 on skis. And
Oh.
so we were really bouncing around. There were three planes, and we were really bouncing around up there. And one of the guys who was the navigator on the flight ended up, he was a friend of mine. I didn't even know he was up in the cockpit. I had played football with him when we were stationed in Guam, and I
Hmm.
didn't even know he was in there. So, and he
Oh,
told me
wow.
later, he said it was just a crash landing. They landed by instruments, and the reason they kept going up was because the instruments would say you're on the ground, and they
Oh.
weren't, and they'd go back up. But the good part about that story, see, there's gratitude in everything. I was in the first plane, and the only the people that were in the first plane got off because the other two sat on the runway for almost 2 days
Oh,
because
wow.
the weather was that bad. I mean, they had a rope tied to the where you walk down the ladder to get off the plane. They had one of those a rope where over to the track vehicle that we were going to get in, and actually two
Hmm.
people got blown away holding onto the rope, and they got blown away. We had no idea where they went. They ended up being blown into the side of a Quonset hut. And that's the only thing that saved their life was they got blown
Wow.
into and the fuelies took them inside and kept them there for 2 days. So there's good in everything. Gratitude,
Mhm.
gratitude, gratitude.
Gratitude. That I love that. See, I probably would have had a different perspective on snow if I would have had a bad experience with snow. And I think that's part of the conditioning of our reaction to certain things. Snow for me, because I came from a warm country in the first place, like this was magic. I had never seen snow in my life when I came from Colombia. So when I saw it in the United States, I was like, heck yeah, snow, ice
Yeah.
melting and it's white on the ground. And if it's clean and you do it right when it falls, not after somebody's walked on and peed on, you can actually eat it. I mean, as a kid, you did a lot of things that nowadays children don't do, but man, I love snow. And to this day, I love snow just as much. I won't say more, but just as much as I love the beach. I love
Oh
the beach.
wow,
I love
such
sand.
so different.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I grew up in the Los Angeles, California area, so we were close enough to everything, whether it's the beach, the desert, the mountains. So I had seen snow, but going to Antarctica was the first time I was put in an environment of where it just the weather sucked. As far as the first couple months. After that, it was really nice. I mean, that's summer in Antarctica. In starting in about September, October, November, and then by February, it's you got to get out of there again. But I went in there in August, so that's still the end of winter. It's still pretty dark outside the entire time, and still very, very cold and some really bad storms. And so that was a shock to my system, but I loved it. Uh, so before we came on and before we hit recording, we were talking about one of my favorite books, and I don't know if we mentioned it last week or not. Um, The Having. Yep, there it is. And I've got mine right over here to the right, and I've also got it on my phone to listen to when I do my treadmill and stuff as well. So fantastic book. And before I get into that, we are on January 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time holding our monthly imagination party, and this is going to be on gratitude and self-love, and based basically on the having. And so it's something that everybody's. I haven't put out any promotions for it yet. Those are coming in the next day or two for sure, so that you can actually sign up for it. But it's going to be another wonderful, wonderful, wonderful hour to hour and a half, depending on people. where we are going to do a guided meditation again, as well as a mind movie based on gratitude and having. And then we're actually going to discuss at least part of the book that day for a while, just to share our input. And it's not going to be like we're going to go chapter one, chapter two, or whatever, but we're going to discuss that. So that'll be on January 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So all the announcements will go out on Facebook, as well as I'll put a link eventually here in the YouTube channel as well for people to go and register. And I shared a picture with you earlier, and I'm going to share that picture again with everybody. If you want to know what living in the moment is, if you want to know what living in the now is, just look at a child, especially the younger, the better. So this is me before I got hair. That's why I have the hat on. 8 months old. And this is me living in pure gratitude. Pure the Having. That's Christmas 1952. My very first Christmas, 8 months old. Like I said, it's probably not even my hat. Look at those crazy dolls in the background. So those have to be my sisters because we only had one girl, and I don't think they were from my mom. So that is, if you look at the face, you can tell. And we have those moments at any age. It's just that children are in that state, that mindset, that beautiful, beautiful awareness, pretty much all the time until we as adults and society, I don't want to use the word corrupt because corrupt means you're doing it, I think, on purpose, but we try to transform them into us, basically. And we try to give them our beliefs and how we look at life. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, but we're the reason that we lose that innocence, that children lose that innocence, and they kind of forget that they came from source. I think the younger they are, the more they still remember. This is my belief. They still remember it. They may not how to speak to us, but in their mind, they still remember that they're pure love, they're pure joy, that they're perfect, perfect in every way, no matter how they look or what's wrong with them, or they are perfect. And after a while, we take that away from them, and not on purpose again, but we do that. And so we were discussing the having before we came on, and you shared some things on Facebook yesterday about Owly, and how the having came into that. You shared some things about sharing the book with your daughter and with friends, and how just from reading the book, you're we'll call it programming. You're programming yourself to remember, uh, to live in the moment, to live in the now, and to live in gratitude. So,
Yeah, and with that being said, I really I had dog-eared the page where from the having um defining or explaining what the having is. And so I wanted to share that with everyone, just to kind of get you in the mode and understanding, and maybe to reflect on what that really means.
is
So
this in chapter 5?
I want
I'm just curious if my memory is good. It's
chapter 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah. So having is abundantly feeling what you have at the moment of spending money. Now, it said spending money, but having in any moment of anything, even when you're not spending money, is just being in the moment.
And that's because this book, the reporter that was interviewing the guru was
Mhm.
talking about money. So she
Money,
put having
correct.
into the definition for
Mhm.
money. But
Right.
you are absolutely 100% plus right. It
Mhm.
has to do with every single aspect of your life. You don't need to be spending money. You don't need to be receiving money to be in a state of gratitude or a state of having. Just like right now, we're sitting here right now, and I'm in a state of gratitude of having that I have everything that I need to be able to talk to you and to be able to record this. Did I hit record? Yeah, I think so.
Yes, you
Uh,
did.
72, 72. No. Uh, and that's a state of having. That's a state of gratitude. That's a high vibrational feeling, and It's just like that.
Mhm.
So, but I'm sorry I interrupted, but yeah.
Oh, no, no worries. I mean, it really is. It's about just the having is being in the moment of whatever it is that you're experiencing that brings you joy. And synchronistically, I've had two beautiful human beings that I had the honor of becoming friends with when I was working for my previous investor, who reached out to me within a couple of days of each other. And I hadn't spoken to them in months since working, and they both reached out, talking about what they're experiencing and what they're having. And I just was so in awe, number one, that they reached out to me. And usually, I'm usually the one reaching out to people first. And so it was a beautiful, pleasant surprise to actually experience that in that moment. And was having a conversation back and forth with a friend. I believe she lives in Texas, and was telling me about what she experienced. And she had taken some time off from work, had to take some leave because she had loss in her family. And then she got into a really bad car accident and was now back to work, um, and was feeling very disconnected from herself and from her job, and just not really feeling really great. But she was still speaking very positively, but was acknowledging that where she's at right now is not particularly where she's happy and feeling joyful and blissful, and she's feeling disconnected. And so I had expressed to her my feelings of what I was going through, and realized that my mental health and my well-being, in order for me to be able to continue to move forward on my journey, was to remove myself from the things that were not feeling good at all. And so it wasn't about pointing fingers at what everybody else was doing wrong. It's just that what was going on around me didn't feel good to me. And I felt the need to remove myself. And I feel that when we are being guided by source, in any way, whether it's a conversation with someone that is giving you something that essentially confirms and reaffirms that you're not alone in how you feel. And so now you find someone that understands you. It's the universe's way of responding and saying, hey, it seemed, you were asking for help without outright maybe saying I need help, but you were able to connect with someone. You reached out to someone and you didn't know what the conversation was going to, it could have just been simple and clean cut and to the point. Hey, how you doing? Everything is great. Wonderful. Wish you the best. Keep it moving. But that's not how it went. I felt compelled from my soul after she said what she was, and wishing me well and whatnot. And I told her everything is going wonderful. I genuinely wanted to know, because I read between the lines. I said, how are you really? And I genuinely gave a hoot how she was feeling, because I felt that something wasn't quite right.
And how
Um,
many times do we ask somebody, how you doing?
yeah.
And it's just because that's what we always
Yeah,
say.
like it just small talk,
Yeah.
just something to say in
This is different.
conversation.
This is
Yeah,
genuine. Yeah. And
yeah.
that should be genuine all the time.
Yes, yes. But I mean, we're humans, and sometimes we're doing our own things, we're in our own thoughts, and so we don't think, but something just kind of just, there was a pause. And as I was reading through her message, I just kind of read in between the lines, and I just felt compelled to say, how are you really? And so we exchanged, messages back and forth, and I reassured her, as I did when we first met, and we connected, and we considered ourselves friends after a short period of time. I said, if you ever need someone to talk to, just know that I am here, genuinely. Don't feel like you're alone on this journey, because I truly understand now. One thing I've made a habit of doing is, if I don't understand where you're coming from or what you're experiencing, then I can empathize with an individual. But when I really know what they're going through, then I can genuinely say, hey, I really do know. And so if you just need someone to listen to, not someone to give you advice and tell you what to do, I'm the one, and reach out anytime. So it's about making those connections. And for me, connections with human beings and being able to spread love, joy, and all the wonderful things that I'm feeling and reassuring others that they have someone in me is really important. So I look forward to those moments.
That's just another way you can be of service to people. I mean, it really is being genuine and really, really caring about another individual and how they feel. I mean, we say, "How you doing?" and the person says, "I'm doing great." What if they said, "Oh, it sucks today. This is bad." They started,
Mhm.
were you really ready for that answer? If you were
Right.
genuine, you were really ready for it. And I will go on and say something else here. I want to say thank you and express some gratitude to, I'm going to say it's supposed to be Eclipse dash 7. It's EC1PSE dash 7 on YouTube. That's his YouTube channel. He commented about our content the other day about how inspiring it is. I just want to say, express my gratitude to him. And there's also at Stay Sharp dash U8W. Same thing. They commented on our content for, I think it was Saturday's YouTube. And um, believe it or not, simple comments like that is being of service to us because it makes
Absolutely.
us feel good. It makes us, hey, we did inspire somebody. We
Mhm.
are. There's some words out there, and not that we don't know it already, but that it's nice that somebody else recognizes it. So you can be of service to people in so many different ways. And I just wanted to do a little shout out. So.
Yeah, thank you so much. We definitely appreciate um, you sharing your thoughts and just listening, and our intent is to always bring um, things of value to those that are listening. And it's so incredible that even just when Bill and I, before we even hit record each morning, and we have these pre-conversation conversations, um, and we exchange thoughts or ideas, or we kind of have a little bit of planning on things that we were inspired to do. Um, there are times where certain things that Bill has said just has inspired something and has made me feel really good. Like this morning, I was like, I feel like I'm underdressed. He's got on a nice shirt. And he's got it, not that everything is in order. I like things in order. But I felt I was underdressed because I'm over here dressed like I'm about to go step into a blizzard.
Well,
And
it's
Bill's
it's
like, you look good. You look
I'm
fine.
dressed differently. I usually have a pullover shirt, and this is an actual shirt. Uh, Not sure why I put it on. I mean, I just have a closet of clothes, and I usually go for the first couple things that are there. And because my pullovers are things that I used to wear when I was going out to work and stuff, there's just
Mhm.
more of those
Yep.
because, so they're there. And this one was there, and I
And you
grabbed.
put it on and you feel good in it. And there you go.
And yeah, and that's, believe it or not, that's being of service to yourself.
Mhm.
When you put things on that make you feel good, you're working on your own vibration and how you feel. I mean, um, who was I? I was talking to somebody one time, about, and they were lamenting about this new generation.
Mhm.
Well, when you're in my generation, there's been several generations that are newer than us, but they was talking about the present generation that'll show up at the airport. This was a conversation about the airport in their pajamas, and how do you do that? Because when we were at their age, you dressed. If you look at film of people going to ball games back in the 70s, the men were in suits, especially in the 60s. But in the 70s, they were still wearing sometimes shirt and tie and a hat and all this stuff. And you go to the airport. I used to love people watching at the San Francisco airport back in the 70s. I was stationed in Alameda and I would fly from San Francisco International to LA International every other week when we were home and when the ship was in. And I would go to the airport early just to sit there and watch the people. They were so fascinating. And they would be dressed, some of them would be dressed really, really nice. And then others, because that was the hippie generation back in the early 70s, you had Hare Krishna or whatever it was out in front of the airport and stuff, and all that kind of stuff. So there was such a variety of people to watch, but you never saw anybody in pajamas. And now you see them in pajamas at the grocery store. You see them in pajamas at the airport. And it's just, if it makes them feel good, then more power to them. That's the way I look at life now. But he was looking at it like it was disrespectful to the airport to be in pajamas. And I says, why? What does it really matter? I said, do you think they put on the pajamas wondering what you would think?
Right.
They, they didn't do that.
Exactly. And it's funny, we were actually, Frank and I were having a conversation the other day just about that, how I remember growing up, and when I was in New York at different stages of my life, as a child, as a teenager, and then later on as an adult for short periods of time, that anytime anybody went out the door, it didn't matter who you were, everybody was dressed with their fresh sneaks, their jeans, their Timberlands, everything was um perfect. And give me one quick second. I just need to do a quick response.
She's on her phone, people.
Yes, so husband just reached out and asked an important question, so I have to answer. But hopefully that went through. Um, in any case, so we were talking about how people nowadays, it seems like some people just kind of get up and they appear based on their appearance alone, like they have no ambition for life and just dressed all, it's very sloppy, very sloppy. And then I thought about what I was saying and I said, you know what? I'm perceiving it as being sloppy and Frank is perceiving it as being sloppy. But what if they're just comfortable? And what if to them, like you just said, doesn't I didn't come out here dressed for you. I came out here to be comfortable. I need to get things done. I don't have time to do my hair and do this and do that. I have things I'm doing, I'm getting it done. And so people are not walking around saying, oh, I need to worry now. There were times, myself included, where I could not walk out of the house without making sure that my hair was in its place and that I looked presentable, whatever presentable meant to everyone else. Um, and then as I got older, I really don't care what anybody thinks about how I go dress. I'm not dressing for anybody. The only time that I am dressing to impress is if I've gone on an interview and I want to present myself in a certain image. And even then, now with work from home, you're at home. Why should you have to dress up and you look presentable. You don't want to present yourself as someone who doesn't care because your appearance does say something about you. But again, it's all perception, people.
Yeah, and some work has dress codes and stuff, so you have to follow the dress codes if you're going to work for them, if that's the job you choose to do. So that may be one reason that you dress a certain way, even though maybe that's not your most comfortable style. But I know what you're talking about, and we had this conversation probably a couple, 3 months ago, not on camera, where before I get on camera, I take a look. I want to make sure that who's ever seeing me sees me, that they don't see me in pajamas or whatever, that they see me so that if I'm dressed like this or with my pullover or whatever, they're going to be able to listen to the content more than try to judge why if you look at social media and you look at YouTube is social media, there's always one person or two people that will decide that they want to dissect whatever you're saying or how you're looking or whatever. It doesn't matter, I don't feel, and this kind of went off the rails a little bit. I wouldn't come on here without a shirt because I
Right.
wouldn't feel good,
Correct.
you know. But if I was 26 years old and beefed up in a 12 pack instead of a six pack, whatever it is, and that's what makes me feel good, maybe I would. I
Right.
don't know, and that's okay too.
Right.
it's how do you feel? You know,
Hmm. And
if you're getting on there and you're wondering what other people are going to think, you're not feeling good. And it has the same thing to do with having and how you spend money and how you look at yourself as far as your weight goes and how you look at yourself as far as I'm not smart enough. You know, it's all about, there are so many different ways to express gratitude and be in having that you wouldn't even imagine. I mean, you wake up in the morning, we say thank you. We're in gratitude. That we're in a special vibration. We go
Mhm.
into the bathroom and we brush our teeth. When was the last time you said thank you and expressed the now that you had a toothbrush? There are people that don't have toothbrushes. There are
Mhm.
people that don't have the toothpaste. There are people that don't have the water to brush their teeth. And yet it's our norm. And so we do it and we're not necessarily in the particular moment. When was the last time you got in your car and actually expressed gratitude that you had a car? Or did we look out and say, God, it's cold out. I got to put the heater on, or it's hot out. Got to put the air conditioner on. Instead of saying, thank you, I have air conditioner, you're mad that it's hot outside. Outside. You can live in a continuous state of gratitude and having, and your life will just blossom. It will turn around so quickly that you won't believe it.
And that is unequivocal truth,
Yeah.
unequivocally the truth. And I can speak from experience, as I'm sure, Bill, you're already speaking from experience. When you think about something as simple as Bill likes his water cold, I like mine room temperature, or I also drink hot water because when I'm cold, now when I am hot, I do drink cold water because it's refreshing and it's cooling down my body. But when I'm cold, some hot water with maybe some lemon, whatever. I drink it. I love it. And for the first time in my life, water is flavorless. It doesn't really contain anything. But I tell you, when I drink this water in these last couple of weeks, I drink it in and I'm in a state of gratitude, not only for the water and what the water does for my body, but it actually is warm in my body, and I'm so grateful for that because I, in addition, have a small little heater underneath my desk, um, because I refuse to put the heat on upstairs, and it has nothing to do with how much money I'm spending on the gas bill. It has to do that I do not like being hot, and heat dries up my head in a weird way, and I feel very uncomfortable. So I will make adjustments and do things, but I am so grateful to have this heater on my feet that's just, it's on low and it's rotating, oscillating back and forth. And it's giving me the right amount of heat, and I'm drinking this warm water, and I got on my toboggan and my sweatshirt and a shirt underneath, and I feel
It's 11 o'clock here in Florida, and I'm probably on maybe my sixth, maybe five, but probably sixth glass of cold water this morning. And that's to go along with my couple cups of coffee in the morning. You're supposed to drink at least 8 glasses of water a day. Anyway, so I'm on my sixth, and it's not because I'm trying
well,
to
they
count
say.
how many glasses. It's because I like it. I love water. I love it, especially cold. And as you were talking about that, I realized not once this morning was I really in a true state of gratitude as I poured that water, or even as I took the sips. I took it for granted. I have a cooler, 5 gallon jug on top. The only time I recognize that cooler is probably when I have to put a new jug on it and I think, I should get the one I could put it underneath. Instead of being so grateful that I have the cooler, that I can just push a button and cold water comes out 24/7 as long as I put a new jug on it. I mean, again, it goes back to the more things that you can find to live in the state of appreciation and gratitude for what you have, the having, what you have, not what you're gonna get, but that what you're gonna get's gonna come if you can stay in that now, the moment of having gratitude. I can't say it enough. I quit talking about this book probably for 4 or 5 months, and I'm sorry I did because it was my word of the year last year. And, for about the first 6 months, I couldn't tell people enough about it. I gave away over a dozen copies, more than probably 2 dozen copies that I had sent to their houses from Amazon because I felt it was that important that people read this book. It's not like I get a piece of the cut. It's not like I'm an Amazon, whatever it is, where you get a piece when you sell something. Or I don't know the author. I sure would love to meet the author, but they're over in South Korea. And maybe I will meet her. I don't know. But what a book and how life-changing it can be for you if you actually read it, digest it, and do it. And it's written in such a way that she's not telling you to do that.
Nope,
Not at all. Leaving
nope.
it up to
But and the only thing that I find is just guidance on how to be in a state of having, and that your disposition and how you walk into a room shows whether you're having or not.
I think the way she describes it and her definitions, and you just read one about how it is for money,
Mhm.
just made it so much more clear than when people are talking about living see it as already done, see it in the end. Well, yeah, that all of that is good, but look at what you have right now. And I don't care if you're living out of your car. I don't care if you're living on the side of the street in a cardboard box. You're listening to our channel, so something's going on. But it doesn't matter. You have things that you can live in a state of gratitude. And when you do that, again, your life is going to turn around and it's going to turn around quickly. It's not going to take a year. It's not going to take 2 years. It's going to take a matter of weeks if you truly live in this state of gratitude, in this state of having. The challenge is to do it.
Absolutely. And just taking the one step at a time, literally one step at a time. And one thing that Bill and I will never do is tell you what you need to do, what you have to do, what you should do, because you have other people that will tell you all those things. But what we are suggesting is that you just take a step in the direction of what you're trying to do, and just one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time, one step at a time.
1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a
Yep.
time, whatever it is. I can tell you as soon as this is over and we're gonna close this out here now, I'm gonna go out and feel that feeling of in the now with my water cooler before I get my next glass because I realize there are so many more opportunities for me. This chair I'm sitting in is really comfortable. Now I
Mhm.
could be saying, oh, it doesn't recline enough or whatever. You gotta feel it. Feel good. Feel in the now. We have so much. And
Yes,
I'll
we
leave
do.
you with the closing.
Again, I want to share that when we're when we're in a state of gratitude, um, on a moment by moment basis, it's not even on a day by day basis. When you're in a state of gratitude, just for being alive, that's a step forward in the direction of what you're trying to accomplish. And so when you're able to hear, see, feel, smell, taste, touch, all these things that are just a natural part of our daily lives, and you just really sit in that for a moment, you know, you have something to be grateful for. And there are some of us who do not have all of those abilities. And even they are practicing gratitude, for what they do have, and are in a state of having all the time because they choose to. And so I choose to be in a state of gratitude because I understand and know that the flip side of that will just get me more of what I don't want, what I wish I had, but still can't have because I'm always thinking the wrong thoughts and having the wrong mindset. And so just gratitude will lead you to where you need to be, where you want to be. And if you just do that daily, one step at a time, you'll get there and you'll see it and you'll be able to look back in awe at how unrecognizable your thoughts are, you are as a person. You will look in the mirror and you will see a completely new person because you simply made a choice and said, I choose.
You know,
And there it
if
is.
there's one thing, you have a list of 10 things that the gurus tell you to do, not every one of them.
Mhm.
But the one thing should be at the top of your list is listening to our channel. No, it's have gratitude. The
Yes,
gratitude. That is number one. Visualization, yes, but gratitude. If you could only pick one, gratitude is the one. Reading books. If you only had one to pick, gratitude is the thing that you need to do. Live in the now. Live in the gratitude of what you have right now.
absolutely. And we want to take these last couple of moments to say thank you to our listeners. Thank you for your comments. We definitely appreciate it, and that lights up my day knowing that there are people out there who are being inspired, Bill, and who are taking the time to say, hey, thank you. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And if you find what we've talked about today of value for yourself or anyone that you think could use this message, please share it, like and subscribe. It's how we grow and how we continue to spread impact and inspiration all over the world. We thank you so very much. And until next time, unless you
But
have something else, Bill.
yeah, until next time, just remember you're a child of source. You're a child of God. You're a child of the universe. Whatever your person is, you are a child and you are perfect. You were perfect when you were born. You're perfect now. You're going to be perfect tomorrow, no matter what you do. You are a perfect child of source. So live it in joy, live it in love, live your life in peace, live it in gratitude.
Absolutely. And until next time, toodaloo, darlings.
Sayonara.